Everybody, welcome back to Talking Books with Tanisha. I'm Tanisha. I am really excited to talk about this book today. It's behind me. It's called James um, by Percival Everett. It is a book that I feel like it's long overdue and it's also right on time, if that makes sense. This is a story, kind of reimagining of Huckleberry Finn. In this story, though, the enslaved person that we know as Jim, and there's other words that are used to describe him in the original book. Um, in the original book, Huckleberry Finn, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, we have a chance like to be introduced to him in a very passive way. He's an enslaved person, doesn't really have much of a presence. His main characteristic is the fact that he's a slave, and that's kind of like his personality. We don't get a chance really to hear what it looked like from his perspective because that wasn't really what the purpose of the book was. The purpose of the book was to really talk about the adventures of this little white boy and his adventures in the South along the Mississippi River. Um, and that's a book that's been kind of held as like a classical in the canon of classical books that lots of students in high school have had a chance to read or are asked to read. It's one of those books that's considered kind of like an epitome of like writing a must read. And I'm not really here to talk about whether or not that's something that should or shouldn't happen. What I'm really here to talk about is what happens when we ignore the voices that don't have a voice, who don't have like a place for their voice. And what I really appreciate about this book, James, is that it gives Jim a voice. It gives Jim an opportunity to show us as readers the things that were happening for him, for his community, for his family. He's no longer silent. Like this is his story. And Huckleberry Finn is like a side character in this story. And so it really flips it, the idea that Jim could have a personality, could have an education, could have a history, could have a presence, could have feelings and actions and thoughts and ideas. And he has his own adventure. There's actually many parts in this story where he separates from Huckleberry Finn, Huck, as they refer to him in the book. And Jim has his own adventures and his own stories. And one of the things that becomes really powerful is his name. I'm not going to tell you like all the things that happen around his name. Um, I'm not even going to tell you all the different inventions that he has, but I will tell you that along the Mississippi River, which is one of those things that we know a lot of, enslaved people went to kind of take them up to freedom. There are a lot of pits, like little pit stops that happen along his journey. And each of those pit stops is really significant because as we engage in each of these pit stops, we start seeing more and more of his personality, the parts that he has hidden intentionally from white people and the parts that he has made really obvious. And then the parts that he kind of saves for us and the kind of the insider, viewers. Some things that are kind of hard about this book is that there is a dialect that's really present that you got to pay attention to, and it's intentional for a reason. It's not a book I would say you need to read out loud to a class. It's not a book you need to mimic or to co-op. It's a book you need to read for yourself to like take in and internalize a real story. And it's also a book that really kind of makes visible an existence of enslaved people that just hasn't been told. This is a book you just need to go ahead and read. I'm so excited that you have the opportunity to talk about this book. James is a must read. It actually is written by an author who has like been nominated for Pulitzer Prizes before. So go ahead and find it. Find James, and don't forget to keep reading. If you like what you're watching, like, subscribe, and share. And keep reading because reading is like powerful. Any book that's banned is a great book. That's a general statement, but you know what I mean? Like some of the best books right now that are being pulled off our shelves are books that need to be read. So don't forget to make sure those stories have a place. Thanks for joining us. Tune back in to Talking Books with Tanisha. I have new books for you to be sharing this whole season.